Holy fucking shit. Oh, Kane. Oh, what did you just do?
I just stood on the biggest goddamn snake in the world. I don't know, it shit itself. I certainly shit myself. And it went one way and I went the other way. And I don't see any bite marks, but holy dog's bags, it was pretty big. And I think it was definitely brown in colour, but
I don't know if it was like an olivey, like brown python, or if it was a brown snake. Do not chase it. But I saw it, but it didn't look like its head came up. It just like its body. He stepped like on the middle of its body.
It was all coiled up, I think, having a nice little sleep, and I wasn't even looking at the ground.
Interesting, we're going snake hunting.
No, we're not.
I need to see if it's okay, because I stood on it.
No, it'll come back out rearing, ready to bite. I seriously think I would have just had a heart attack if I did that. Like, I would have died on the spot. Kane would have just had to bring me home because I would have frozen. Okay, just wondering for a friend, is it a thing that after you've seen a snake that we both feel like we've been bitten now on our feet and legs?
Been mind bitten.
Yep, pseudo bitten.
That's right.
Well, after that little bit of excitement, we actually hit Dubbo and we're so excited to go and explore. Hey, we are spending today at Dubbo Zoo, but we're doing it a bit differently, Kane.
Doing it on e-bikes.
Ooh, something a bit different.
There's a lot of people riding bikes, so we're not the only ones.
Now, just a tip, because there's a few things we want to see in Dubbo, we've actually bought like a 4-park pass thing, and we can see the jail, the Flying Doctors, some caves at Wellington, and the zoo. And it actually saves you about 20%. So there's a tip.
Good tip. So you can get around and see everything. We've got a great day for it today, though.
Oh,
yesterday and last night they were miserable and raining. Today sun's shining and everything's good.
So come check out the zoo with us.
Taronga Western Plains Zoo, and here to introduce you to one of our black rhinos, Mackenzie. So he's one of the 9 rhinos that live here at the zoo. He is 15 years old and was born here.
This is like my favourite at the zoo.
Who doesn't love a giraffe?
Pretty cool. It wants in. Hey Kane, what happened to you?
Bloody magpie whooped me.
At the zoo? Check out his ear. Magpie got him good.
Could have cleaned out all the earwax while he was there, the dirty bastard.
And what did your wife do?
My wife was laughing. I thought she'd thrown a rock at me and clocked me right in the ear hole. But no, she said it was a magpie that swooped me and landed me in the ear.
I could have thrown a rock. He's got no idea, does he?
Nope.
But a magpie got me on the way here, but I just ducked and knew it was coming. He had no idea.
It started off that I told her to turn left because it was a good shortcut and she went the long way. And then I looked back to give her a sort of, you know, the I told you so, and then bang, right in the ear hole. So I was about to rouse at her.
So it was in for taking a shortcut, really.
Oh, don't give me trouble. They had a fight and then they just struggled. meerkats feeding was excellent.
That was pretty cool, watching them eat bugs.
Favourite, look, it's hard to go past the lions. There's 3 little cubs. They terrorise Mum, and Dad just sits up there like a big king that he is and really just lays around. That's my sort of life. So,
tip is, if they say they've got a feeding or a talk thing, get there about 10 or 15 minutes beforehand.
The animals seem to know, and they just come out about 10, 15 minutes beforehand. Boom, they're out, and they're ready, they're eager.
They run around and they do things.
They do, so it is
Way
a really good
better.
tip. Have a look to see when feeding times are if you want to see the animals more active, and then try and sneak around there. So that was good for us on e-bikes because we could go backwards and forwards, which was
like
awesome.
The cheetah was doing absolutely nothing, then suddenly came to the fence and was like stalking us.
They know.
And then the zookeeper came and was feeding. But as soon as she fed her, she was gone. Took off with the meat. So it was much better to get there before the feeding than afterwards.
Okay, that's a wrap on the Dubbo Zoo. It was an awesome day. The weather was perfect. Great spot. Really recommend getting down there. It was awesome on our e-bikes. We've
Decided to stay in a caravan park in Dubbo. 2 reasons. First one was safety. We'd heard that there was a few instances, things being stolen and that, so we thought it might be a bit safer to stay in a park. And we also decided that we might stay at one a little bit out of town. So we looked at the reviews on Wikicamps and we ended up choosing Westview Caravan Park, which has so far been a lovely little spot. It'll be really good. I'm going to wash all my towels and sheets and that in the washing machines here. So yeah, Westview Caravan Park is out near the airport. Well, today we're going to use our second ticket on our 4-park pass, and we're going to the Old Dubbo Gaol. We've heard that there's some very good live shows here.
Out in the back, in a restricted area. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you know what for? Nothing, they said. Just for no...
Windy. The biggest gust of wind you've ever seen. Look, feel the wings there. Feel it. Yeah, look, it was about times 10. I'm going to escape.
Oh.
Whoa. That was pathetic. All right. Let's do it again.
All 8 men who were hanged were held in this cell, some for 2 months or some for 4, awaiting their execution.
Oi, what are you fellas trying to do? Use ours. Trying to get out of the bloody roof. Yeah? What the? That's a nice try. Oi, you must have been the instigator of all this.
Hey, we're getting out of here.
Climbed up on the wall of the Old Dubbo Gaol, jumped down to the main street, and took off running. Hit his gate, you're free. Runs past you, down the street. Now, running's a bit weird, okay? Morning joggers, not my thing. But then following him is one of the most prestigious and well-known men in the Dubbo region, the man with the most power. And he runs past in his dressing gown and slippers. Nothing else. That's a weird sight to see in the morning. Big strong man running for his life from a very short man in a dressing gown and slippers. Things blowing in the breeze. That's a weird sight.
Straight. That's funny. That's hilarious. This is what you need. The wooden mouth gag.
Lovely. What's that then?
Chastity belt? No, sirree. Jeez. Carefully, carefully.
Okay, so we've had a really busy Sunday morning this morning. It is 12 o'clock and we've actually finally left the caravan.
Yes.
What have we been doing this morning, Kane?
Royal Flying Doctor's experience, which hopefully will be very nice.
It's probably, I love the Royal Flying Doctors. I love the whole story from John Flynn, how they originated. But it possibly wouldn't have been our first thing to go see in Dubbo. but because we got the
Four-part pass.
thing, it's actually part of it. So this is really a freebie for us because it was one that we weren't necessarily going to, but with the 4-part pass it works out free.
That's right. We did the Dubbo Zoo, which was fantastic. I highly recommended it, certainly because they just do a lot with animals and breeding programs and that. We did the jail yesterday, which we actually watched a couple of characters in costume and an escape talk, which were really good. So I really enjoyed that as well.
And we actually like the history of all jails and that sort of stuff. This is the guy that started it all with the Royal Flying Doctor, Reverend John Flynn. And that's how Will got his middle name, because this guy's pretty much a legend. This is pretty cool. Check out all of these. Like, they're massive. And they're actually showing real life. That's what's happening in the Broken Hill hangar. These are planes that are actually got patients or going to patients. There's 6 planes in flight at the moment. And where they're headed. Up here shows some of the areas they go to. And this is inside one of the planes. So that's pretty cool information. I like all the history and the information behind it, but also all of what's happening real life now and showing that the flying doctors are actually helping people real life. That's pretty cool. Okay, so the flying doctors started in Cloncurry up here in 1928, and you can see sort of by the 50s they were in Kalgoorlie, Port Hedland, Broken Hill, that one was Charleville and Alice Springs. And then Victoria and Tassie, really, even New South Wales don't have many till about the late 90s. And then from the late 90s to today, look at all of the other ones pop in. A lot in that area now, which is interesting. That's it today compared to what it was like in the 20s. Okay, just to give you a bit of background trivia, when I grew up we used to live out in a property out near Cloncurry, and it was very isolated, and so I did School of the Air and distance education, which is now called, and my parents used to have to rely on the flying doctors for any medical emergencies. One charity that I'd probably support, always the Heart Foundation first, because we've got 2 heart people, but my second one close to my heart is always the flying doctors, because they help out the people in the rural communities that don't get it. And us who are travelling, you know, it is possible that they're coming to help someone, a traveller, and that too, if you're in an emergency. We're often in remote places, and yeah, it's good to know that there's someone there that can come out and get you. Also, good tip, we have a sat phone. You should have some way to communicate to them. If most of the places where you would possibly need them, your mobile phone is not going to work. So have some other way of communicating to get help. I'm loving this Japanese garden, but I think we're a few weeks too early because heaps of the trees are just about ready to bud with flowers, but not quite there. So imagine how pretty this would be when it's got flowers and leaves all over it. Be gorgeous. Not everything you do in Dubbo is actually going to cost you. Check out the Japanese gardens and the botanical gardens. They are pretty cool. Rightio, so we packed up and left Dubbo this morning. Finally time to leave. And our first stop is the Wellington Caves. So we're about to go check out the caves and see what they're all about. They are our last thing on our 4-park pass. So come with us and see what we can find.
Big fellas, which ate grasses, megafauna they call them, become extinct. Speculate that maybe first humans to colonise Australia. Others suggest it was climate and environment, and the third theory is that maybe it was a combination of both.
After
after exploring the info centre, we're off to check out the caves.
The cathedral, right? So just young was actually used as a church at one stage. It wasn't uncommon. A lot of places around the world held their services down. A lot of churches around the world held their services down in caves.
Wow, that brings us to the end of our 4-park pass, Wellington Caves. Well worth a visit.
And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us along, comment below if you've used this 4-park pass
We've had a blast.
before. See you next time.
Hi, am I on?
Please don't. I was the first one that got swooped by a magpie, and it just swooped me. And then after the one attacked him the second time, it swooped me as well. But none of them hit me. So I told him I think he's got big ears, and that's his problem.
Looking at putting some mods on the 76 Cruiser, and I think these ones might be pretty good.